Miss Universe podcast.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Miss Universe podcast.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Miss Universe podcast.
Good morning, hello, and welcome to Emma's podcast. Oh my goodness gracious. It's just, if you only knew what I say or what I do before I record my podcast, it's hilarious actually. I should record myself. I would be extremely popular with my own silliness. So, yes, beginning of the week, start of the week. Here it is -1 right now degrees. I did not realize that. And I apologize to my dogs. We went and I was ready to go for a walk. And Mike went and did his business. And he's like, I'm not coming back. So he run back by the gate. And I got the poor Lulu was like, one of his paws up, like, I can't. It's too cold. And put the paws down and have the other one up. And I'm like, okay. So had to lift him up and carrying him back, and my cat started to run like a crazy mad cow, and I'm like, do not do that because that gets my daddy excited, and I have her on the lead. I'm lifting the little one. I'm like, no, we don't do a circus at 7 o'clock in the morning. This is not happening. So went back inside and realized, oh boy, it is -1 here. And I'm like, this is crazy. I should have checked the temp. I did not. My fault. We're in the middle of that winter vortex. And to be honest with you guys, it is amazing. Or maybe it's everywhere I go. I don't know. I'm bringing better weather because we have not had a snowstorm at all. We had one. It was just a few days before Christmas, and an attempt of snowing for the past few days, but no, I would say not even a half inch of snow accumulation, which is extraordinary because where I'm at right now, it would be more like a couple of feet of snow, but did not. So got to appreciate that, to be honest with you. So that was my excitement for this morning. And I'm like, okay, now we can record our podcast today and do what we got to do. It is a full moon today. Yes, it is. When I'm speaking with you and you're going to hear it in February, we're in January, and January the 13th, full moon. Not even 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'm already starting to record, which is awesome. So just a little inspiration here. Inspiration and just stepping outside of the path of the comfort zone and doing things in a different way. I like that. Challenging ourselves, and as well as staying focused on what we're supposed to do, but expanding our horizon. I think one of the biggest things that really brought creativity and bring us back to life, it's when we do things. Let's say you got a project at home, you want to do some remodeling, and sometimes it's just repainting the walls. You don't even have to do much to really bring new energy, new thoughts, or doing a project. I have done that. I remember over 2 decades ago when I got my house, before it burned down like a little crispy crisp. When I got it, there's a few things that needed to be updated. But, as you're using stuff, as they go along, things will go and die. Yes, when appliances like the, what do you call it? Now I'm seeing it, but I'm having a senile moment, a blank right now. That's awesome. Compactor, the garbage compactor, which is if people don't have a compactor, it's part of the sink, and you push a little button and it will mush everything, except, well, some of them will accept bones like chicken and stuff like that, but most of them don't. Mine died, which is awesome. Like, really? Well, a week before it happened, and that was the fun part of it, was I like to watch this Whole House on PBS, a great show where you can see how you can replace stuff. And they were replacing a garbage disposal where you allegedly need two people. And yes, one person underneath the sink, one above the sink when you need to adjust. So when you don't have that, then you have to become creative. And my creativity was my library, actually. Yes. After it took me longer to remove that garbage disposal underneath, I think it was from origin. So from 1985 to 2001, that thing never got changed, which is nice. It's like the old refrigerators. When you're looking at the old days, things could last forever, seriously, and they still last forever. And now new things break easily. Even when you buy a brand new dishwasher and you are looking at plug it in and it doesn't work because the motor doesn't work, that's telling you something. I think their QA is not, quality assurance is not that good at all. So back to the garbage disposal. So I was looking at that program and I'm like, okay, that's not that bad to change because I didn't know how to change it. So I'm like, okay, well, I can tackle that. So went to one of the, I think it was Home Depot at that time. It doesn't matter if it's Home Depot or Lowe's. Picked one that I needed, and because they're costly, it costs you about $100 for the simple one, and I go to 200 plus for the others. But me, I just need $100 one. The regular one is just fine for the capacity. So it took me half an hour to 45 minutes to remove it. That's how long it took. That's how crazy it was. And then I'm like, okay, now I did this. What do I need to support because I did not had somebody with me at that time when I changed it. So I use my library. Yeah. You have, like I said, you have to use your thoughts, your imagination on how, and be flexible on how you can figure it out how to utilize what you've got around you to help you to do the job. So what I did, I piled up the books to the point that it was, the compactor was way underneath, very well put in, like you had somebody pushing it up. And then I was able to put it together, connecting the, the extension cord, do what I got to do, and it worked just fine. I think I changed it twice, actually, since I was there. Twice I changed my compactor. Twice I did the same thing. So I'm laughing because I'm like, think about doing projects. And if you have somebody to help you, that's great. But when you're by yourself, you can still do it. But you have to use your, I'm not going to say common sense, but your imagination and be, your creativity to do, how can I do this with less, than one person if I don't have that right person with me. So that was fun. I like that old house. That's still a good show. I think they're still doing it as well when they were doing remodeling of barns and turning into homes. Super cool to see how they were restoring houses as well. And it was more into the Boston area. They were doing most of their shows. And they came up with somebody who would receive an email and travel to different cities and meet the people when they needed to have maybe the gardening, some issue with their gardening, some issues were repair of windows. So it's always very interesting. I love those shows because it's very interesting to see how you can fix things on your own. Stuff that I will not fix, again, electricity and stuff like that, I don't monkey around with it, but there is stuff we can fix. But I love the fact that moving things around a room, even changing the color on the walls, I have done that because I remember, I'm talking like the old days, when I got the condo, one of the bedroom had the original 1985. I'm serious on this one, wallpapers. So it took me an entire weekend at least, if my memory is correct, to remove. And there were not only one layer, but there were a couple of layers of those, flat out the walls. And I remember Home Depot had a session on faux paint. And I was extremely interested for those. And I I remember one of the brush I got was a Ralph Lauren's, and what I did for that room, and it looks like it was a wallpaper when in fact it wasn't. I did a full wallpaper and they're very simple, super easy to do. Again, normally you need two people to do it for the second, which was the brush. And I did it by myself, so that was awesome. So I did some of the full paint. I even did the ceiling because I redid the entire ceiling flat, and I did a full paint on that too, with a baby sponge. But it always is inspiring when you do things like that, when you take on the projects. It can be a simple projects, and really, I don't know, it brings you to life. It's like when you're done, even if you struggle during the way, when you're done with it, you're like, holy crap, I was able to do this. This is awesome. So it really empowers everybody to be able to do that. So that was the fun part of it. I really appreciated that. But when you look at challenges on the front of us, it's always interesting when we are looking at all of this and really push ourselves outside of the comfort zone. It's the same when I used to go in the front of the building, the condo where I was, because it was a fourplex. And we never had, well, one of the neighbors had downstairs took care of a planter that was a huge barrel planter, very nice. And one year she said, I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm like, okay. Well, I asked everybody else, okay, I will take over. And I asked because I wanted to plant flowers around, but we could not do it because there were tiles underneath, so it was a hootenanny land. But a suggestion was made to me and said, well, you can, add planters, which I did. So the fun part was to go to like the nursery, Home Depot, Lowe's, because they had their nursery over there too, and pick plants. I never had a pattern. I just went there, and based on what I was seeing, what I was interested on the colors, I would pick them up. One of them in particular, because my impatiens, I love my impatiens. So for the impatiens, I always got 3 baskets of impatiens, and I will plant them into that huge barrel, and it turned to be like a bush. It was just awesome to see how beautiful they turned out. And it was full sun, actually. People said they don't do full sun. They were doing full sun and did very well. But the other plant, I would bring them back, put them into the garage, and then I will sort them out outside, put them outside, and I would just let my creativity take over. Turned out very pretty. Love the colors, from the red to the yellow to the orange to the blue. So it all depends on the plants. And I just went like that. And I just loved it. I really appreciate it and love all of this. So that was the fun part of it in my time to have fun. And I think it always goes that way when you think about everything we do. So stepping outside of the comfort zone, doing something new, really brought the energy of being alive, of excitement. And that always helped us to step outside of the comfort zone and discover actually our skill sets. Because a lot of time people like to stay in their little boxes, but when it comes down to step outside of it, it could be a challenge. So the fun part for me, it's always do things outside of your comfort zone. Use your practice, use your skill sets, and continue to develop. Again, and I always said, always go messy, because perfection, if you go perfect or you're trying to be too perfect, you're going to miss for you to learn in a better way. When you go messy and you don't set expectation, except we're going to get it done, but I am not going to put my higher standard. My standard comes along, but I'm not pushing myself to come as perfect, because if you do that, then you put more pressure on yourself. And a lot of people going to miss the point. They're not going to be as successful or happy about the end result if you put too much pressure on yourself. The less pressure you put on yourself, the better you're going to succeed. And that is something that I have noticed, that when I do contracts, when I work with other people, is I don't come with an expectation. I go with the flow. I listen what the needs are, and I'm pushing myself into the right direction. If you have expectation, then you're gonna miss what is needed and how you can support what you're doing, even for projects, for anything like that. So I like to go messy. I remember that somebody said that a long time ago. You go messy. Then I rather go messy and let things going the way it is than anything else. So that to me is one of the major key on that, and it really emphasizes everything we do. And that's the beauty of it. So think about it. Think about what you have accomplished that works great, and think about the best project, the best thing you have done, and the worst one. And instead than just reliving it, observing it in your mind, and point why. Try to find the why. Why did I succeed? Why did it went so well? What did I do that really helped? And take the one that's the worst one and said, okay, why did things flunked? Well, maybe somebody wasn't helping, but however, what did I do that contributed to it, or what contributed to it? Because sometimes when you get people who's trying to create or be the grain of salt, sometimes we don't see it. And if we don't anticipate what people are going to be doing, that is something we have to learn. But or looking at the things that maybe you got too much expectation, you thought you would be able to do it in one shot, and that wasn't the case. You missed some of the steps along the way. Look at it and just readjust your own self in there. And trust me, when you start to do that, then you understand that going with the flow is one of the best things to do, but having the overall picture as well, and see how much pressure, because sometimes we put a timeline on things. Oh, I want to do this at this time frame. I want to do this and that. Okay, you do have to meet your deadline. That's not a lot of things. But if you less pressure yourself on, I'm going to get this, and sit and say, I'm going to do this and that. So I always said in any project that I had, it's done. It's done on time. It's already done. So I don't put the pressure on me. It's already done. And so it is. For projects, for everything. And all of my projects have always been done. Also, I always give a week or two rooms. Generally, it's 2 weeks room on the top of it. Because you never know when you work on projects what interference you're going to get along the way. Sometimes the projects go so well, everything is done from A to Z very quickly. And sometimes from the beginning, the project's going to need to be nurtured by you step by step. So when I give, and every time I had a project and I was asked for an ETA, I always give at least 2 weeks on the top of the estimate to make sure that we're covered. And every single time, or I was done by the original date, or by the 2 weeks frame, I was done within that time frame and we delivered it. So think about it, but really be open. I think the message for today is be open to do things that you have not done and step up into the unknown. That's scary, but that's super fun too. So all my love, guys, and I will talk to you later. Bye now.
Where do we go from here?
Emma's Universe Podcast.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Emma's Universe Podcast.
Stargazer.